I'm Laura Vitale, and in this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I'm so excited to share with you a recipe for my vegetable pot pie because I think it's such a fantastic recipe and perfect if you've got some veggie-loving friends coming over, friends and family coming over for the holiday season. This is a beautiful main course that I think everybody will enjoy. Let me take you over the ingredients so we can get started. You're going to need some chopped up mushrooms, carrots, onions, celery. I've got some parsnips, butternut squash, sweet potato, a regular potato. I've got some frozen pearl onions and peas that I've defrosted, some heavy cream, all-purpose flour, some chopped sage and thyme, some butter, some poultry seasoning, vegetable stock, salt and pepper, and you'll also need some puff pastry. Now this does have dairy in it, so if you are a vegan, if you don't eat dairy whatsoever, then by all means substitute it with just using a little bit more stock and maybe use like Earth Balance or something for the butter, whichever you prefer. But anyways, what I've got here is a large pot with some olive oil over about medium-high heat, and I'm going to also have my oven preheated to 400 degrees. I'm going to add in my mushrooms. I am a mushroom fanatic, so I like to add a lot of mushrooms, and cremini are one of my favorites because they're still affordable. They're affordable enough so that you can, get quite a bit of it, but it has a ton more flavor than regular white bun mushrooms. So I like to add a ton. You can also add a mixture of mushrooms in here. That would be fantastic as well. I'm going to add those in there. I'm going to season this first layer with some salt and pepper. I'm going to let that cook for about 4 to 5 minutes. You want to make sure I don't have a wooden spoon. What was I thinking? You want to make sure that you let these cook down just a bit. Just going to chop this is a big golden potato. You really can use any potato you want, but all I'm going to say is that you want to make sure that your potato, your parsnips, your butternut squash, you want them all to be about the same size so that they'll cook at the same time, and then that way you won't have some pieces that are raw, some pieces that are mushy. You kind of all want them to be about the same size. And at this time of year, you should really be able to find chopped butternut squash and sweet potatoes already ready and chopped up for you in the produce section of your grocery store. But you can always cut your own, of course. It is much cheaper that way, and that's how I prefer to do it. So anyway, I'm going to just keep my eye on these vegetables, and I'll show you what they look like when they are ready. They look wonderful. So now I'm going to add in my butternut squash, my potatoes, because I've got sweet potatoes, and Yukon Gold, parsnip, all that good stuff. I'm going to season this now with some salt and pepper. Not too much salt. Make sure that you season every layer of the dish. I feel like I sound like a broken record, but you have no idea how important that is. Okay, give that a good stir. Let this cook together for about a minute, just to blend in those flavors. I'm gonna add my fresh sage and thyme along with my poultry seasoning, which is just some ground up, again, rosemary, sage, thyme, just all those fantastic herbs that go really well with poultry, because we want to still hit those notes, those comforting notes that a chicken pot pie has, but just in a really fabulous vegetable version. All right, give that a good stir. We're gonna add in the butter. I know it looks like a lot, but it's about 3 tablespoons. I'm gonna mix that in until it's all melted. What we're essentially making is like a fake roux. We just need to add a little bit of flour to this to make sure that everything thickens. Now we're not going to add a lot of flour because you do have potatoes in there which are starchy and they're going to thicken up this, the sauce. But I just want to add just a tiny bit to make sure that I get the right consistency. So just melt that butter right in. Just going to add a little bit of flour. I don't need all of that. I just need about a tablespoon or so. And you're just going to stir that flour into your veggies for about a minute, just so that way it kind of cooks out that raw flour taste and then you don't end up with a flavor of almost like glue. So just kind of cook it in until you can't see it anymore. That's the key. And now I'm going to add in my stock. Now I am using vegetable stock, but I've been in love with this better than bouillon. What is this? These bases, I have them all. I have the vegetable, I have the chicken. Open this. Okay, I need my apron. Really, Laura? Wow, pathetic. I am so pathetic. Why do I even bother working out? I tell you. I'm gonna add in some of my base to my hot water that essentially creates the stock. I'm just gonna stir that in, and I'm gonna let this cook over about medium heat for about 15 minutes or until the potatoes and the butternut squash are really nice and soft. Not totally soft, but about, I would say, halfway cooked. A little more than halfway cooked, so just keep your eye on it. It's been about 15 minutes and I've tested my veggies, my potatoes and my butternut squash, and they're pretty tender. So I'm going to add my frozen defrosted pearl onions and peas. I can't have a pot pie without those. And some heavy cream along with some fresh parsley. I just need a little fresh grassiness, like just that sort of brightness. I need that. So go ahead and give this a really good stir and let this bubble away for about 3 minutes or so on high heat, just to thicken it up ever so lightly. I just defrosted a sheet of puff pastry. I leave it in the fridge overnight to defrost. You don't want to leave it on your counter, otherwise it will melt into a big, giant mess. Don't ask me how I know. Just unroll this out. It comes folded in 3 parts. You can use your favorite pie crust if you wanted to. Personally, I love my pot pie topped with puff pastry. I think it's that flaky, buttery goodness that just makes it oh so delicious. I'm just going to sprinkle a bit more flour underneath and at the very top. I'm just going to stretch this out and roll it out a little bit more to fit my, my casserole dish. As you can see, my mixture has thickened up really nicely. I'm just getting 2 kitchen towels because this is pretty heavy. And I'm going to put this into a big casserole dish. Oh, what a celebration of a dish this is going to be. Oh, I love it. I love the smell of that. Okay, level out your filling. How beautiful. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to take this puff pastry, shake off the excess flour, pop that right on top, and then just kind of move it around to fit. Work quickly because this will start to melt. It's inevitable. There's a lot of butter in puff pastry, so I just tuck it in just like that. Make a few slashes at the very top for the steam to escape. And then last but not least, I just take some egg wash and a little bit of milk, cream, water, whatever you got. And I'm going to brush this all over the top for that really beautiful golden crust that I just adore. One last step I do like to do though is just to put a little salt and pepper on the crust itself. That way everything is really well flavored. Okay, I'm going to put this into the oven at 400 for about a half an hour, 25 minutes to a half an hour until it's golden brown and puffed up, and then I'm going to let it cool a bit before we go ahead and serve it. My pot pie was in the oven for about a half an hour, and look at it. I mean, it's golden brown and it's crispy. I've let it cool for about 20 minutes because you don't want to cut into this when it's piping hot because it's still boiling, and then everything will kind of run all over the place. I'm excited. I'm going to go for this piece. Look at that. Look at that flaky crust, that fantastic filling. Oh. This is going to be amazing. I am so excited. You can make this individuals too if you got little little crocks or something, whatever they're called. I don't really know the proper word, but you know, you can make individual size. But I just find that making one big portion, one big size, family style is so much easier. I don't know why one would want to bother with 8 to 10 little pieces. Nah, make one big thing. Smells divine. So hot. But you have to try this. It doesn't matter whether you're a meat eater or not. This is one that will please everybody. It's just so comforting and delicious and filling and interesting and full of flavor. I hope you give this a try. Go to laurainthekitchen.com to get the recipe. I hope you've enjoyed spending time with me, and make sure you post pictures on my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook if you do recreate any of my recipes for your holiday table. I would love to be a part of it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.